For years, the New York Giants have flailed away at foes like a punch-drunk pug on a Bayonne undercard. But in 1981, the Giants have developed real knockout potential, thanks primarily to a linebacking unit that recalls the days of Sam Huff and Harlan Sparre. Last week in St. Louis, rookie linebacker Lawrence Taylor, number 56, helped KO the Cardinals. Taylor registered 2 sacks, including a devastating blindside hit that forced a fumble. Number 75, George Martin, capitalized with his second touchdown of the season. In addition to Lawrence Taylor, another rookie linebacking heavyweight was Byron Hunt, number 57, who made his first start of the year. Efforts to double-team Hunt proved futile as he helped limit the effectiveness of O.J. Anderson, number 32. Anderson also encountered resistance from safety Bill Courier, number 29. When the Cardinals attempted a fake reverse, Courier wasn't fooled. St. Louis's running game was restricted to less than 100 yards, and their passing game didn't fare much better. Number 36, Mark Haynes, accounted for 1 of 2 New York interceptions. But in the second half, Neil Lomax put a dent in the Giant defense with the assistance of Pat Tilley, number 83. Lomax connected with tight end Greg LaFleur, number 89, for St. Louis's only touchdown. But the Giants countered with the running of Rob Carpenter, number 26. Here, Carpenter is ready to follow his lead blocker, but chooses to run to daylight on the outside. Carpenter rushed for over 100 yards, and his 1-yard plunge contributed to a 20-10 victory that kept the Giants' wild card hopes alive, while assuring them of their first 500 or better season since 1972. Ray Perkins' surprising Giants have proved to be game battlers who can hold their own against any challenger. The other New York team confronted a grim challenge in mud-drenched Cleveland last Saturday. Walt Michaels' Jets faced a Browns club that they'd never beaten. And with Brian Sipe passing for 280 yards, it appeared that the status quo would be maintained. Sipe chipped away at a Jets team that was mired in the muck of mediocrity for most of the contest. But New York eventually put its best foot forward and shook off the Cleveland threat. The Jets came clean on 2 Richard Todd scoring passes, including a 28-yarder to Lamb Jones, number 80. And they stayed in the playoff picture with a 14-13 win. While New York's teams were thinking wild card, Cincinnati's Bengals had a division title at stake in Pittsburgh. The Bengals proved the wisdom of that old adage, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Since if you want to win in Pittsburgh, you do as the Steelers do. Play bone-crushing defense. And that's just what the Bengals did. Number 57, Reggie Williams, proved to be Pittsburgh's principal nemesis. When the Steelers double-teamed end Ross Browner, number 79, an unattended to Williams set his sights on Mark Malone, and there was no escape for the young quarterback. But the Steelers also had muscles to flex. Here, guard Craig Wolfley, number 73, pushes Williams aside, allowing number 44, Frank Pollard, to reel off a substantial gain. Pittsburgh power and Pittsburgh pride kept the Steelers clinging to slim playoff chances until the game's waning seconds. But throughout the game, they were kept at arm's length by a controlled Bengals passing attack directed by Ken Anderson. Despite being well draped by the steel curtain, number 80 Chris Collinsworth and number 89 Dan Ross combined for 10 receptions. Anderson threw 2 touchdown passes, and his 22-yarder to Steve Kreider, number 86, proved to be the margin of victory in the 17-10 Bengals win. The Bengals thus ended their 2-year tenure as AFC Central doormat. With a push from Forrest Gregg, they now sit at the top of the heap with their first division title in 8 seasons. The Bengals provide 1981 with yet another rags-to-riches story that recalls Rocky I and II. It's been a season when former punch-drunk Pugs have become proud powerhouse contenders. In recent weeks, Dick Vermeil's Eagles have been living in the shadows of the gallows, and given enough rope, his Eagles may try to hang themselves. After establishing a comfortable margin in the NFC East, the Eagles lost 3 consecutive games and were jeopardizing division hopes. Against Dallas, the noose drew even tighter. Part of Philadelphia's problem has been their inability to put points on the board, and when Ron Jaworski connected with number 81 Ron Smith, the Eagle offense seemed primed for its biggest day in over a month. But such a play was the exception rather than the rule. Number 32, Dennis Thurman, picked off 3 Jaworski passes and helped to prevent the Eagles from scoring a second-half touchdown for a 4th straight game. Meanwhile, the Cowboys proved there was nothing wrong with their offense. Number 20, Ron Springs, bowled his way in for 1 score, while running mate Tony Dorsett established himself as the all-time Cowboy rushing leader with a 101-yard performance. By mixing their running game with passes to receivers like number 86 Butch Johnson, Dallas racked up 412 total yards against the league's stingiest defense. Johnson consistently found weaknesses in the Eagles' pass coverage, and when he caught this touchdown pass, Johnson helped Dallas clinch the NFC East with a 21-10 win. The victory was the Cowboys' 19th consecutive win at home, and since the home field advantage plays a big part in postseason play, playoff time is the right time to be in Dallas. It's also that time of year when that jolly man in the red suit brings gifts to everyone who has been good. Of late, the Washington Redskins have been very good, and Santa brought just what they wanted, the Baltimore Colt defense. In 1981, the Colts have surrendered more points than any other team in NFL history, and their generosity allowed Redskin quarterback Joe Theismann to have a banner day. Theismann threw for 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also having a big day was running back John Riggins, who twice powered the ball into the end zone. The Redskins went on to win 38-14 and kept their playoff hopes alive with their 7th win in their last 10 games. Their recent success is a sharp contrast to the Oakland Raiders, who were losing with Jim Plunkett at quarterback, and hoped that number 6 Mark Wilson could rally them back into contention. Since becoming a starter, Wilson has indeed sparked the Raiders offensively, but his leadership has failed to inspire Oakland's pass defense. Until last week, the Chicago Bears had thrown only 9 touchdowns all season. But against the Raiders, Bear quarterback Vince Evans was able to pick Oakland apart for 3 touchdowns, including one to rookie receiver Ken Marjoram. Marjoram's catch secured a 23-6 Bears victory and lowered Oakland's record to 7-8. Unless the Raiders win Monday night, Oakland will have its first losing season in 19 years. Across the bay, losing has been a tradition for the San Francisco 49ers, but that was before 1981. 3 weeks ago, the 49ers clinched their first division title since 1972, and against Houston, they were intent on establishing the league's finest record. With a healthy Earl Cooper, number 49, back in the lineup, the 49ers' goal was considerably helped. This touchdown was Cooper's first score of the season. In his absence, San Francisco has been a team that has thrived on the pass, as Joe Montana maintains the best completion rate in the NFC. Montana's favorite target is number 87, Dwight Clark, who scored 1 touchdown and caught a team record-breaking 84th reception. The 49ers scored on 4 consecutive possessions, and when reserve quarterback Guy Benjamin found number 85, Mike Wilson, for a touchdown, San Francisco had overcome a sloppy field and the Oilers for an easy 28-6 victory. While most NFC teams hang precariously from a playoff rope, Bill Walsh and company seemingly have the world on a string. Rookie sensation George Rogers may be the best thing to happen to New Orleans since the birth of Dixieland. But against the Packers, Green Bay reintroduced the Saints to another old but familiar music style known as the blues. Louis Armstrong and his horn could not have affected the New Orleans defense as much as the right arm of quarterback Lynn Dickey. Dickey completed 19 of 21 passes for 218 yards and tied a Packer club record with 5 touchdowns. Dickey's near-flawless performance included completions on his last 13 straight attempts. This touchdown to number 82, Paul Kaufman, helped boost Green Bay to a 35-7 win. The Packers have now won 5 of their last 6 and are tied for first in the NFC Central Division. First place in the NFC Central has become more popular than the bar car on a commuter train, as the Detroit Lions pulled up a stool alongside the Packers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers by beating Minnesota. The Lion offense redeemed itself after a sobering performance 2 weeks ago against the Packers by gaining nearly 500 yards of total offense, more than twice that of the Vikings. Billy Sims, number 20, the league's 3rd leading rusher, personally picked up the tab for 147 total yards and scored Detroit's first touchdown. A regular as division champion, this season Minnesota will not win the NFC Central title for only the 3rd time in the past 13 years. This apparent interception by number 25, Kurt Knopf, was nullified by a penalty, typifying the Vikings' afternoon as they lost their 4th straight. Backup quarterback Gary Danielson, playing for the first time in 10 weeks, added to the Lions' lead with a 4th quarter touchdown pass to number 89, Tracy Porter. Detroit's impressive 45-7 win set up a Week 16 showdown for the division championship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A graphic look at the Bucs' last 4 seasons shows more ups and downs than a roller coaster. Tampa Bay has gone from worst to first, back to worst, and needed a victory against the Chargers to complete the cycle. Unfortunately, San Diego closed down all the rides for the day. Dan Fouts worked over the Buck defense, completing 33 of 49 passes for 351 yards and 1 touchdown. However, Doug Williams went pass for pass with Fouts, including this 58-yard score to Theo Bell, number 83. Unlike last season, in 1981, Tampa Bay has displayed the character necessary to challenge for a division title. Even against the NFL's number 1 ranked passing offense, a determined Buck defense never let up. Trailing 21-10 in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdown runs by James Wilder, number 32, put Tampa Bay on top, 23-21. Just as it appeared the Bucks had the division championship firmly in their grasp, they let it slip away. Number 51, Woodrow Lowe's interception set up a late fourth quarter drive, culminated by a Rolf Benirschke field goal with only 45 seconds left. Benirschke's 29-yard kick provided San Diego with a 24-23 win and kept their playoff hopes alive in the AFC West. On the other hand, Tampa Bay grimaces at the thought of a title showdown against Detroit in the Silverdome, where the Lions have not lost a game all season. Nothing can haunt a pro football team more than stretch drive syndrome, that paralyzing anxiety of knowing that a single defeat can ruin an entire season. When it strikes, teams that have done well all season often find themselves self-destructing when it counts most. Its symptoms are many. It manifests itself in many ways. Last week, in their interconference showdown with the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs had a bad case. On this play, the Chiefs were so intent upon setting up downfield for a punt return that they neglected to contain Miami's kicker, a costly mental error. Special teams breakdowns cost the Chiefs points and allowed Miami to control the football. Missed assignments in passing situations resulted in 3 Dolphin sacks and kept Kansas City out of scoring range most of the afternoon. Solid defense and a mistake-free ball control ground game were the winning formula as Miami defeated Kansas City 17-7. The Chiefs have now lost 5 of their last 7. In contrast, Don Shula's Dolphins have won their last 3. They have conquered stretch drive syndrome, and for their efforts, they have advanced to the NFL playoffs. The same holds true for the Buffalo Bills, who last week clinched their berth in the Super Bowl Derby with a hard-fought but thorough victory on the road against the floundering New England Patriots. Discounting a short November slump, the Buffalo Bills have played consistently well all season. In contrast, the Patriots seem to have 2 distinct personalities. This second quarter handoff to Vegas Ferguson went for a 19-yard score. But in the third quarter, the same play call exposed the Patriots' alter ego. It's this side of the Patriots that New England fans choose not to be identified with. Last Sunday, Buffalo quarterback Joe Ferguson threw sparingly but effectively, and number 20 Joe Cribbs rushed for 153 yards in addition to scoring on this 39-yard pass play as Buffalo beat the Beantown Bunch 19-10. It took stamina and resilience for Buffalo and Miami to survive the stretch drive in the AFC East. Of course, the same can be said about the AFC West, where Denver has emerged from a distinguished group to claim first place, a position they solidified last week with their 8th straight victory in Mile High Stadium. The Broncos' most recent victims were the Seattle Seahawks, a team one writer dubbed the He-Hawks earlier this year, probably due to moments like this one. Last Sunday, Seattle's unforced errors were compounded by an aggressive Bronco defense that stripped the Seahawks of the football on 4 other occasions. Denver allowed the Seahawks a meaningless last-second touchdown and a pair of field goals, the sort of defensive performance good teams make down the stretch. Later, as afternoon became evening and winter descended upon Mile High, the Denver Broncos clinched their 10th victory of the season. In a year that most experts predicted the Broncos would be rebuilding, the Broncos need just one more win to clinch the hotly contested Western Division title. Like Miami and Buffalo, the Denver Broncos have won the games that matter most, the cold weather games of late November and December, the games where stretch drive syndrome separates the real pros from the pretenders.